And so the Monarch MK Ultra sub-project, no, it was just MK Ultra Project Monarch, had various sub-projects to it, was basically a Ninth Circle, Order of the Ninth Circle, Saturn's own program, which was mainly for bloodliner offspring, but non-bloodliner offspring could be sold into it by their parents, for instance, and therefore become part of the Illuminati's highest Order of Ninth Circle of Saturn if they were seen as properly programmed through trauma-based mind control, which is the epicenter of the MK Ultra program in heart. Really, it's trauma-based mind control through satanic ritual abuse, and the creation of basically a Manchurian candidate, as it's called, a mind-controlled zombie psychic warrior that can be used for instance, smuggling something across the border, or being involved in trafficking rings, or assassinations, or all sorts of things. And these people can be hypnotized and suddenly act out a certain scenario simply through a combination of words being spoken into one's ear. And that is the kind of training that occurs in MK Ultra Project Monarch programming. And a lot of these programmed Manchurian candidates are bred underground because the Illuminati have what we call breeders, and these women are simply programmed from birth to be sex slaves, and they're chained up in dungeons a lot of the time and drugged with all sorts of pharmacopoeia that comes from the Nazi chemical factories within the conglomerates of pharmaceutical companies, which are pretty much Roman Catholic Nazi owned. And of course we got, for instance, the House of Warburg's IG Farben conglomerate, which was only split up in 2003, but actually continues through various corporations. And of course Bayer, which is actually Bauer, which is the House of Rothschild's own pharmaceutical company. And the House of Rothschild are not Hebrew at all. It is an absolute lie. Even Brother John Todd, the ex-Illuminati whistleblower and targeted individual, stated that the House of Rothschild are not real Hebrews, and that the majority of the families involved in the highest level of the Aryan Ishmaeli Joachimite Illuminati Order of the Ninth Circle of Saturn were actually Gaelic originally. And I've come up with these sort of Gaelic / Arab crossover druidry theories regarding the ethnic origins of the Joachimite Illuminati Order of the Ninth Circle of Saturn, and the practices that occur in the satanic rituals and MK Ultra programming are very similar to that of the Egyptian pharaohs, and indeed the houses that are at the top of the Illuminati pyramid, the pinnacle of the Illuminati pyramid. So the bloodliner houses, satanic bloodliner houses that are present in the Order of the Ninth Circle of Saturn do tend to be descended from Egyptian pharaohs, from the Hyksos nobility. And indeed we have Akhenaten, who was actually Esau, and he used his son Tutankhamun as a sort of Ishmael Christ figure, as we may see Pharaoh Sergio Borgia, O.N.C./S.J. we know as Pope Francis do with his son, who I believe may be the Ishmaelite Christ figure in the coming weeks. And Pope Alexander VI, who was Rodrigo Borgia, used his son Cesare Borgia in 1492 in the Alhambra decrees as an Ishmaelite Christ figure to legitimize the Holocaust in Iberia and Spain of 1.8 million Hebrews were massacred, and another 500,000 were driven from Spain. But this is forgotten history, and there lies on in the history textbooks that the Moors, the Moorish Ishmaelites in the Iberian Peninsula were driven out at the same time as the 1.8 Hebrews were massacred, and the 500,000 Hebrews were driven out, but that's not true. The Moorish Arabs were allowed to stay, provided they became Moriscos, and it didn't matter if they were Inverso Moriscos. So there has always been a tragic link between Roman Catholicism and the faith of Ishmael, and a lot of that has to do with the Roman Catholic Church being rooted in this replacement theology, whereby the Roman Catholic Church has replaced the law of Israel and the prophets, and the Israelites and Yehudites. The only true Israelites are the Benjaminites. So the Israelites and Yehudites, the Catholic Church has replaced them as the keepers of the covenant. So the Roman Catholic Church has basically imposed itself upon a covenant which is not theirs, and thus they are linked up to the seed of Ishmael through the fact that the faith of the Baphomet was created by Augustinian monks of St. Augustine, the order of St. Augustine.